Welcome back to Access Anime. My name is Henshin Ikeda, and today I'll be doing a walkthrough and review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Episode 12. And if you remember from last episode, we see Strats versus JoJo, and the end result being JoJo is the clear-cut winner. Now, I thought, Strats was supposed to be better than Dio, since he's a vampire now, and he said he was going to be better, or at least more improved. How's that going for you, Strats? Yeah, not so well, because you were defeated that quick by JoJo. Just putting that out there. But moving on past that, we do find out JoJo now knows about the Pillar Man thanks to Strats. Now, moving on past that, we're taken back to Mexico, and we're introduced to a new character by the name of Major Stroheim. And Major Stroheim is actually a German officer during World War II. And guess what? He's interrogating Speedwagon. That's right, Speedwagon is still alive. Just thought I'd put that out there. And again, Major Stroheim is just trying to get every single piece of information from Speedwagon that has to do with the Pillar Man and what he knows up until now. Now we also find out Major Stroheim is doing experiments on the Pillar Man. And if you remember correctly, this Pillar Man that they're talking about is the same Pillar Man that is from the ruins that apparently Speedwagon and his excavation team was working around. So that's that guy that was embedded in the ruins. So he's the Pillar Man. And again, that was the brand new character we were introduced to, and again, Speedwagon is alive. Now moving on past that, toward the end of the episode, we find out JoJo is now in Mexico, and he's on his way to where Major Stroheim's at. And he's being followed by someone, and we don't know the identity of this guy that's following him, but we do, you have to understand, it's broad daylight, there's sun out, so it's not a vampire and it's not a zombie. That's what we know now. But again, that's where the episode ends. And I'll hold my final thoughts and my rating at the end of the clip, so stay tuned. But let's dive right in. Now, we open up this episode exactly where we left off with, so already I like where this is going. Now, we see JoJo, and he's riding a motorcycle, and he's being followed by someone, and he notices. He turns around, and he stops, and all he sees is a jacket. In the middle of the desert? Really? Is it that obvious he's going to be attacked? Guess what? He's been attacked already, right off the bat, so I saw this coming and I thought it was hilarious. But again, that's where we open up with. And moving on past that, we are taken to a different scene with this attacker. Now, we don't know anything about this attacker yet, but he kind of introduces himself per se. Now, we find out he's actually a German soldier. His name is Donovan, and he's with the SS. And I believe he's a stormtrooper, or at least it was hard to read some of the subtitles because it was kind of cut. So again, this guy that attacks JoJo out of nowhere, he's a German soldier, he's a stormtrooper, his name is Donovan, and he's with the SS. Already, I love where this is going. Now, we are taken to a different scene with JoJo versus Donovan. This is amazing. I mean, a fight already at the beginning of the episode. I love where this is going. Now, moving on past that, again, we see JoJo versus Donovan, and he kind of surprises JoJo, and it looks like JoJo's about to die, but looks can be deceiving, because JoJo had this planned out at the start. As soon as he started the fight, he was looking at all these cactuses. So now we see JoJo using these cactuses on Donovan, and all of a sudden we see these needles kind of attack Donovan and kind of stop him. And I thought, wow, I didn't know a cactus could be used in this kind of attack at all, so this was mind-blowing. And then we see JoJo use his ripple energy on the cactus, and he takes out Donovan. So that fight was kind of quick and fast-paced. Not what I thought it would be, but again, it was a direct hit, and Donovan has been defeated. So bang, right there. Now moving on to the next scene, we see JoJo, and he's kind of interrogating Donovan, trying to get all this information out of him, like, why were you following me? What do you know? So he's hustling all this information out of Donovan. Now, the only thing that Donovan actually knows about is Speedwagon being alive. So now JoJo knows Speedwagon is alive, so the first thing on JoJo's mind is to bring back Speedwagon so his grandmother will be a little more happier and less depressed. So that's his new mission in life, to save Speedwagon. Now, we also find out, other than he wants to save Speedwagon, that the Pillar Man is also in the same location as Speedwagon. Just thought I'd put that out there, because that's something we didn't know. I didn't know the Pillar Man was technically in the same location. I mean, from last episode, we knew that the Germans were doing experiments on the Pillar Man, but I didn't know Speedwagon was still alive. I thought they would have killed him by now after interrogating him, but I didn't know that. Moving on past that to a new scene. See JoJo. Well, not so much JoJo, because he's now on his way to, well, where the Pillar Man's at, but the Pillar Man in general. That's right, we get to see more of the Pillar Man. Now, we open up this scene with the Pillar Man, and the Germans are still doing all these random experiments on him. And Speedwagon, he's still alive, like I said before, but he's being forced to watch all these experiments, and he's in a wheelchair. So, is he paralyzed, or is it because of all the drugs he's been taking or been forced to take? We don't really know, but what we do know is that the Pillar Man's being held kind of captive in a bomb shelter. Now, there are flamethrowers everywhere, machine guns, among other things, so there is no way that if the Pillar Man comes back to life, that he's going to escape, or at least that's what the Germans believe. But man, are they wrong. That's all I can say. I mean, they come prepared, but at the same time, not so much. Now, I should also point out, within this bomb shelter, they also have time bombs. Okay, you got time bombs, flamethrowers, and machine guns. Okay, somehow, there's going to be a flaw with this plan. There's always a flaw when the Germans come up with that kind of plan. They're missing something. That's all I'm going to say. Just moving on past that. Now we see Major Stroheim. He's pushing his luck. That's all I can say with everything he's doing with the Pillar Man. All these experiments, he's crossing the line. There's, at some point in time, you got to say, enough's enough. Your experiments are going nowhere. You know, that's all I can say about that. Now all I can say is we're going to a different scene, and bam! Bam, bam, bam. That's all I can say. We see the Pillar Man, and he's bleeding. Come on. Really? He's bleeding? And somehow everyone's like, oh my god, he's bleeding. You're experimenting on something you found from a ruin that you can't explain. Really? Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, up until now, I would have thought the Germans would have known a little better than just to be stunned by the bleeding coming from what appears to be like a statue-like figure. But that's just me. But moving on past that, we see the Pillar Man. He's moving and he's alive. And yet the Germans aren't really that stunned. They're just amazed on what's happening. And they're still not killing the Pillar Man. They're not taking any action. They're just watching like morons that they are. I mean, come on. Speedwagon warned you guys what would happen. But sorry, I digress. Moving on to the next scene, we're taken to a different scene with the Pillar Man, since he's alive and moving around. And he's been given the name by Stroheim, Santana, because they're in Mexico apparently. So now the Pillar Man has a name, and it's given by Stroheim. So Major Stroheim gives him the nickname Santana, or a name in general. So the Pillar Man's new name is Santana. Just thought I'd put that out there. And apparently he's like a god in apparently Major Stroheim's eyes. It's like, really? We're going there? Just putting that out there. Now we are taken to a different scene. Now, it's experiment time. That's all I can say. It's experiment time. Now, we do see Major Stroheim, and he orders his soldiers to release their vampire they have. That's right, they put a stone mask on a random person, converted this person into a vampire, and apparently they implanted a bomb in this vampire's head, so it couldn't get out of control. So at least they took the necessary steps to keep this vampire from killing everyone, and they just let this vampire go in this bomb shelter in front of the Pillar Man, which is called Santana now. And you're like, okay, I'm interested to see where this is gonna go. The Pillar Man versus a vampire, which they turned into because they have the stone mask, or a stone mask. So taking to a different scene with Santana, and he's versed the vampire, and it looks like the vampire's literally killing Santana. No, we see Santana absorbing this vampire, and it's phenomenal. I mean, this reminds me of Father Abel from Trinity Blood, because if you remember correctly, Father Abel was, I forget what he actually was, but he was eating other vampires. So he was I forget what he was, but that's what this is what the Pillar Man reminds me of. A crow's neck. I believe that's what the Father Abel was actually called. But sorry, I digress. Moving on, we are taken to a different scene with Speedwagon, and he's mentioning, okay, this Santana, he's not stupid. He is smart. He is strong. Do you see where this is going and how this is adding up? Not good. That's all I can say. Now moving on past that, toward the end of this little scene, you see Santana, and he says Major Stroheim's name. He says Stroheim. Now, I don't know if he was mimicking what Stroheim was saying or something along those lines, but we do find out Santana can speak, so he's not stupid. Now, moving on past that, we are taken to a different scene with JoJo, and he's outside of the security laboratory that Speedwagon's actually at. And it's kind of a laugh out loud moment, because we see all these girls, going in, and they're being checked by, the German soldiers. So he dresses up like a transvestite, walks in, obviously that he's the guy. He gets caught on purpose, and he's got two, it looks like wine glasses in his hand. So he's going to use those wine bottles as weapons, because he's going to use his ripple energy to take out these soldiers automatically. And I thought it was a funny scene. I mean, he's like, great job, guys, you caught me. And they stop him automatically, and he takes out both of the guards, and he strips one of the guards down, takes his uniform, and walks right in through the front door. I'm like, come on, that was an amazing scene. I loved it. But moving on past that, of course, we are taken to a different scene with Santana, and Santana has vanished, and we don't know how. How did Santana vanish? He was right in front of everyone. It's like, what? Really? And so everyone's panicking, and we find out they were recording this on video, so they checked the video on what happened, like where did, Santana go. Apparently Santana vanished through the ventilation system. Really? I mean, that's how he heard Major Stroham's name, through the ventilation system. So it's like, so you thought about everything, every single way to kill the Pillar Man if he got out of control, but you left the ventilation system open? I thought you guys were smart. I thought you were Germans. Come on. Really? You made that much of a little mistake? So at least now we know how Santana escaped through the ventilation system, so no surprise there. Now we do find out that Santana is coming through the ventilation system on the other side, and he attacks one of the German soldiers through the ventilation system. And it's like, what? It's like a WTF moment. He jumps inside of this soldier's body, and it looks like he's eating him or something, but he just like jumps right inside of this soldier's body. I'm like, what? So he's like possessing him now. But I digress. Moving on to a different scene now, we do see a few more of the German officers, and they're trying to attack Santana, who is in this soldier's body now, and it's going nowhere because they're shooting Santana and it's going nowhere. In fact, Santana is absorbing all the bullets and shooting them back at all the soldiers, so they're not having any luck in taking out Santana. So just putting that out there. So I thought, wow, this is kind of effed up in my opinion. But of course we are taken to a different scene now. We see JoJo. That's right, JoJo is now here. Now it's funny because he's in front of Speedwagon and he mentions, you should really get out of here. And you see Speedwagon's like, I'm not going to listen to you, you're a German officer, Oh, well, you're a German soldier, that kind of jazz. And then he finds out, wait, you're JoJo. And yes, we do see JoJo kind of jump right into this, but he doesn't attack, Santana right away. In fact, he turns to Major Stroham. He's like, I'm going to need some of your hair. He's like, don't you know I'm a German officer? And JoJo's like, give me your hair. He just rips Major Stroham's hair out, and he uses his ripple energy to attack Santana. So this is amazing. And again, Speedwagon knows it's JoJo now. Now, toward the end of the episode, we find out it's Santana versus JoJo, and Santana's kind of shocked that JoJo was using ripple energy, or at least hair, to attack him. And again, that's where the episode ends. As per final thoughts, okay, JoJo versus Santana, I can't wait to see where this is going to go, and it looks amazing. That's all I'm going to say. Now, whether or not Speedwagon's going to get out of this alive or not has yet to be seen. Now, moving on past that, all I can say is, Major Stroham, are you going to run? Are you going to attack JoJo? Are you going to join the fight? And why didn't you use the bomb that you put into the vampire that Santana absorbed? Shouldn't it still work if the bomb is now part of, Santana? I'm just putting that out there. And again, that ends it for my final thoughts. As per my rating, 4 out of 5. The fight scenes kind of were there, but I was more interested about the information that was given. I was more into the information because this episode was more about information than fighting. So that's all I can say. There was no emotion, so I can't give this a 4.5 out of 5. So final rating, 4 out of 5. And again, that ends it for my walkthrough and review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure episode 12. But again, comment down below, let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, definitely subscribe, check me out on Twitter, and follow me if you like. But again, let me know what you thought of this episode, and let me know what you think is going to happen in the next episode coming out. But again, guys, I gotta hit the bricks, I gotta go, and before I go, I gotta say it, and I always say it. You can't stop the access, but you can watch the feed. I'll see you later, guys.